The first message came at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday. Unknown number. You looked beautiful today in that blue dress. The one with the white buttons. I stared at my phone, my heart already racing. I'd worn that dress to work. How did someone know that? Who was watching me? I blocked the number immediately and tried to go back to sleep. But I kept thinking about it. The specificity, the timing, the way they said beautiful like they really meant it. The second message came 3 days later from a different number. Unknown number. You always order the same coffee. Vanilla latte, extra shot. No foam. I admire consistency. Now I was scared. This wasn't random. Someone was following me, watching me, learning my routines. I went to the police. They took a report, told me to document everything, said there wasn't much they could do unless the person made an explicit threat. I changed my routes to work, started looking over my shoulder constantly, bought pepper spray. The messages kept coming. Different numbers. Always between 2 and 3 a.m. You were sad today. I could tell by the way you walked. I wish I could make you smile. That guy at the bar was hitting on you. You weren't interested. Good. He wasn't good enough for you anyway. You sing in the shower. Did you know that? Your neighbor mentioned it when I asked about you. That last one made me move apartments. But here's the thing, and I know how crazy this sounds, the messages were never threatening. They were caring, observant, like someone who genuinely wanted to know me, to understand me, but didn't know how to do it the normal way. And after 6 months of this, after 6 months of living in fear and looking over my shoulder, something shifted. I stopped being afraid. I started being curious. Who was this person who knew me so well? Who watched me with such attention? Who seemed to care about my moods, my routines, my life? So one night at 2:47 a.m., when the message came, you couldn't sleep tonight, neither could I. I did something insane. I responded, me? Who are you? 3 dots appeared immediately, disappeared, appeared again. Unknown number. Someone who's been waiting for you to ask that question for 6 months, 13 days, and 4 hours. Me? That's not an answer. Unknown number. My name is Luna, and I've been in love with you since the moment I saw you. My breath caught. Luna. A woman. Me? You've been stalking me. Unknown number. I've been protecting you. There's a difference. Me? No, there isn't. Unknown number. Meet me tomorrow. 3 p.m. The coffee shop where you order your vanilla latte. I'll prove I'm not what you think I am. Me? Why would I do that? Unknown number. Because you're curious. Because some part of you wants to know who I am. Because you didn't block this number. She was right. I hadn't blocked the number. Me? How will I know it's you? Unknown number. You'll know. I told myself I wasn't going to go. I told my best friend Maya about the messages, and she thought I was insane for even considering it. This is literally how people get murdered, she said. You do not meet your stalker for coffee. I'll be in a public place, I argued. What's the worst that could happen? Oh, I don't know. Everything? But at 2:45 p.m. the next day, I was sitting in the coffee shop, my vanilla latte growing cold in front of me, my hand on my pepper spray in my purse. At exactly 3 p.m., she walked in. I knew her immediately, even though I'd never seen her before. Or had I? She was stunning, tall, with long dark hair pulled back in a ponytail, wearing jeans and a leather jacket. But it was her eyes that caught me. Dark, intense, and looking at me like I was the only person in the world. She sat down across from me without asking. Sophia, she said, and my name in her mouth sounded like a prayer. You know my name. I guess that's not surprising, considering you've been stalking me for 6 months. 7 months next week. She smiled, and it was devastating. But who's counting? This isn't funny. I know. Her smile faded. I know how creepy this is. I know how it looks. But I need you to understand. I never wanted to scare you. I didn't know how else to be close to you. You could have talked to me, like a normal person. Could I? Luna leaned forward. Tell me honestly, Sophia. If a stranger had walked up to you 7 months ago and said hi, would you have given me the time of day? I wanted to say yes. But she was right. I probably would have smiled politely and walked away. I tried the normal way first, Luna continued. I came to this coffee shop every day for 2 weeks, trying to work up the courage to talk to you. But you were always busy, always distracted, always moving. So I started, observing, learning about you, waiting for the right moment. That's still stalking. I know. She looked down at her hands. I know I crossed lines. I know I scared you. But Sophia, I also saved your life. I froze. What? 3 months ago, you were walking home late from work. A man was following you. I saw him from across the street. He had a knife. I called the police and stayed with you, half a block back, until you got home safely. You never knew. I remembered that night. I'd felt like someone was watching me, but when I'd looked around, I'd seen no one. The next day, there'd been news about a woman attacked 3 blocks from my apartment. They'd caught the guy. He'd had a knife. That was you, I whispered. Luna nodded. I've been protecting you. Not just watching. There was the guy at the bar who was drugging drinks. I warned the bartender about him. The co-worker who was spreading rumors about you. I sent proof of his lies to HR. The landlord who was illegally entering your apartment. I reported him to the housing authority. With each revelation, my understanding of the past 7 months shifted. All those times I'd felt watched, I had been, but not by someone who wanted to hurt me. Why? I asked. Why would you do all this for a stranger? Luna looked at me with those intense dark eyes. Because the first time I saw you, you were crying. Sitting right here in this coffee shop, tears streaming down your face, trying to hide it from everyone. And I wanted to know what could make someone so beautiful, so sad. I wanted to fix it. I wanted to make you smile. That was the day I found out my mom had cancer, I said quietly. I know. I read the letter you were holding. I shouldn't have. But I did. And I've been checking on you ever since, making sure you were okay, making sure the world wasn't breaking you any more than it already had. She reached across the table like she wanted to take my hand, then stopped herself. I know this is insane. I know I sound like a crazy person. But Sophia, I fell in love with you in that moment, and I've been falling deeper ever since. I should have run. I should have called the police. I should have done anything except what I did next. Tell me everything, I said. I want to know everything you know about me. Luna's eyes widened. Are you sure? No? But tell me anyway. So she did. She told me about the birthmark on my left shoulder blade that I'd only seen in mirrors, about how I always double-knotted my left shoelace but not my right, about the way I hummed the same song every morning, Fleetwood Mac's Dreams, without realizing it, about how I cried during sad commercials but not during sad movies, about how I ordered Chinese food every Sunday night and always got extra fortune cookies. She told me things about myself that I didn't even know. And with each revelation, instead of feeling violated, I felt seen. For the first time in my life, someone had really looked at me. Your turn, Luna said finally. Ask me anything. Why the messages? Why not just talk to me? Because I'm a coward, she laughed bitterly. I can watch you from a distance. I can protect you from shadows. But talking to you? Looking you in the eye? That terrifies me more than anything. You're doing it now. Because you gave me permission. You responded. You came here. Luna's voice dropped. Do you know what that means to me? That you trusted me enough to show up? I looked at this woman, this beautiful, intense, slightly unhinged woman, who'd spent 7 months learning everything about me, protecting me, loving me from a distance. And I realized something terrifying. I wanted to know her too. Tell me about you, I said. If I'm going to be stalked, I should at least know who's doing it. Luna smiled, and it was like the sun coming out. Over the next month, Luna and I met every day at that coffee shop. She told me about herself, about growing up in foster care, about learning to observe people as a survival mechanism, about the way she saw the world in patterns and details that others missed. I think I might be somewhere on the autism spectrum, she admitted one day. I was never diagnosed, but the way I fixate on things, the way I process information, it's different. I see details others don't. Remember things others forget. Is that why you watched me? I asked. Partly, but mostly because I couldn't look away. You were the most interesting pattern I'd ever seen. The messages stopped. We texted like normal people now. She still knew things about me. She'd memorized 7 months of observations, but now she asked instead of just knowing. Now we shared instead of her just watching. My friends thought I was insane. Maya especially. She stalked you, Sophia. For months. That's not romantic. That's criminal. She protected me, I argued. That's what she says. But how do you really know? I didn't have an answer to that. I just knew that when I was with Luna, I felt more understood than I'd ever felt in my life. We went on our first real date 6 weeks after meeting. Dinner and a movie, cliché, but perfect. Luna was nervous in a way she'd never been during our coffee shop meetings. Her hands shook when she held mine. She asked permission before kissing me goodnight. Is this okay? She whispered, her lips inches from mine. It's okay, I said, and closed the distance. The kiss was electric. 7 months of watching, wanting, waiting, all of it exploded in that moment. When we pulled apart, Luna was crying. I never thought I'd get to do that, she said. I never thought you'd want me like this. I do, I said. I really do. And I meant it. Despite everything, despite the stalking, despite the messages, despite how wrong it all was, I was falling for her. We moved fast after that. Too fast, probably. Within 3 months, we were living together. Luna moved into my apartment, the one she'd already known everything about. She still noticed everything, still remembered my routines, still anticipated my needs. But now it felt caring instead of creepy. You're out of shampoo, she'd say, and I'd find a new bottle in the shower the next day. You've been stressed, she'd observe, and I'd come home to find my favorite meal waiting. You're getting sick, she'd warn, and she'd be right. 2 days later I'd have a cold. It was like being loved by someone who could read my mind. Most of the time, it was wonderful. But sometimes, late at night, I'd catch her watching me sleep, and I'd remember, this woman stalked you for 7 months. One night, I woke up to find her gone. The bed was empty, the apartment quiet. I checked the time, 2:47 a.m. I found her in the living room, staring at her phone, tears streaming down her face. What's wrong? She looked up, and the expression on her face was pure devastation. I need to tell you something. Something I should have told you from the beginning. My heart dropped. What? The reason I started watching you. The reason I was at that coffee shop 7 months ago. She took a shaky breath. It wasn't random, Sophia. I was there looking for you specifically. I don't understand. 8 years ago, I was in a car accident. I was 17. My parents died instantly. I was in a coma for 2 weeks. Luna's voice was hollow. When I woke up, the doctors told me I'd had a visitor. A girl around my age. She'd come every single day, sat with me, talked to me, even though I couldn't respond. The nurses said she'd been in the car behind us when we crashed. She'd called 911, stayed with me until the ambulance came, then followed me to the hospital. Luna. They said she saved my life. That if she hadn't called for help so fast, I would have died. But when I woke up, she was gone. She never left her name. The only thing I had was a description. Brown hair, blue eyes, about 5 feet 4 inches, with a birthmark on her left shoulder that the nurses saw when they helped her wash up in the bathroom. My hand went unconsciously to my left shoulder where my birthmark was. No, I whispered. For 8 years, I looked for her. I used every resource I had. I learned everything I could about that day, about the cars on that road, about the people who might have been there. And 3 years ago, I found a traffic camera photo. It was blurry, but it was enough. I used facial recognition software, illegal, I know, and I found you. Luna stood up, moving toward me, but by the time I found you, 3 years had passed. You probably didn't even remember me, and I didn't know how to approach you. How do you thank someone for saving your life when they don't remember doing it? So I watched you, learned about you, fell in love with the woman who'd saved me without even knowing it. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. That day 8 years ago, I said slowly, the car accident on Highway 5, the silver Honda. You remember? I did remember. Vaguely. I'd been 19, driving home from college for the weekend. I'd seen the car flip, called 911, stayed with the girl in the back seat because she was the only one moving. She'd been covered in blood, barely conscious. I'd held her hand and told her she'd be okay, over and over, until the ambulance came. And then I'd left. I hadn't given my name because I'd been in shock. I'd driven home, told my parents what happened, and then tried to forget about it because the trauma had been too much. That was you, I whispered. That was me. Luna grabbed my hands. Sophia, I didn't start this to manipulate you. I started it because I owed you everything. Because you saved my life, and I wanted to know who you were. And when I learned who you were, kind, beautiful, sad, strong, I fell in love. But I should have told you. I should have told you from the beginning why I was there, why I watched you, why I couldn't let you go. You stalked me because I saved your life? I watched over you because you saved mine. I protected you because you protected me when I needed it most. I fell in love with you because... She stopped, tears streaming down her face. Because how could I not? You're the reason I'm alive. I pulled my hands away, pacing the room. My mind was spinning. 8 years ago, I'd saved a girl's life and then forgotten about it. And she'd spent years looking for me. Found me. Watched me. Loved me. This is insane, I said. I know. You should have told me. I know. I saved your life. So you stalked me? I saved yours back, Luna said quietly. The man with the knife. The drugged drinks. All of it. I was evening the scales, Sophia. You saved me once. I've been saving you ever since. We stared at each other across the room. Two women bound together by a car accident 8 years ago, by 7 months of watching, by 3 months of loving. I need time, I finally said. I need to think. Okay. Luna's voice broke. Okay. She grabbed her jacket and left. I heard the door close, and then I was alone with the revelation that the woman I'd fallen in love with had been looking for me for 8 years. That our meeting wasn't fate, it was calculation. That everything I thought I knew about us was built on a foundation I'd never seen. I didn't talk to Luna for 3 days. She respected that. Didn't text or call. Didn't show up at the coffee shop. But on the morning of the 4th day, I found a letter slid under my door, Sophia. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect you to understand. But I need you to know the truth. All of it. 8 years ago, you saved my life. But it wasn't just the 911 call. It wasn't just staying with me. You told me something while we waited for the ambulance. I was fading in and out of consciousness. And you held my hand and said, "Stay with me. The world needs you. I need you to stay." I don't know if you remember saying that, but I remembered. Through the coma, through the recovery, through the years of physical therapy and grief and learning to live without my parents, I remembered your voice telling me to stay. So I did. I stayed. And I looked for you so I could tell you that you were right. The world did need me to stay. Because I was meant to find you again. I was meant to protect you the way you protected me. I was meant to love you. I know I did this wrong. I know the stalking, the watching, the messages, it was all wrong. But Sophia, I don't regret it, because it brought me to you. It brought us to this moment. I'll leave you alone if that's what you want. I'll disappear from your life as completely as I entered it. But I need you to know, you were never just some stranger I decided to watch. You were the girl who saved my life. The woman I spent 8 years dreaming about. The person I was always meant to find. I love you. I've loved you since I was 17 years old, and you held my hand and told me to stay. I'm still staying, Sophia. I'm still here. Waiting for you to decide if you want me to be. Always yours. Luna. I read the letter 17 times. Then I called Maya. He's a psychopath, she said immediately. Whatever. This is insane, Soph. She saved my life too, I argued. The man with the knife was real. I checked the police reports. She really did call them. That doesn't make the stalking okay. I know. I stared at the letter. But Maya, I saved her life 8 years ago. I forgot about it. Moved on with my life. But she never forgot. She spent 8 years looking for me. Is that obsessive? Yes. Is it unhealthy? Probably. But is it also the most devoted thing anyone's ever done for me? You're not seriously considering taking her back. I don't know what I'm considering. I traced Luna's handwriting with my finger. All I know is that when I'm with her, I feel more seen, more known, more loved than I've ever felt. And yes, it started in a really messed up way. But what we have now, is that real? Or is it all just part of her obsession? Only you can answer that. I hung up and stared at the letter for another hour. Then I grabbed my phone and texted Luna. Meet me at the coffee shop. 3 p.m. We need to talk. She responded immediately. I'll be there. Luna was waiting when I arrived, looking like she hadn't slept in days. She stood when she saw me, nervous energy radiating off her. Sophia. Let me talk first, I said, sitting down. She sat across from me, hands folded, waiting. I've spent the last 3 days trying to figure out if what we have is real, I began. If your love for me is genuine, or if it's just gratitude and obsession mixed together. And honestly, I still don't know. Luna's face fell. But, I continued, I realized something. The day I saved you, I didn't think about it. I just acted. Someone needed help, and I helped them. I didn't do it for recognition or gratitude. I did it because it was the right thing to do. I know. I'm not finished. I leaned forward. You spent 8 years looking for me. You found me. You watched me, learned me, protected me. And yes, that's obsessive. Yes, that's unhealthy. Yes, that crosses about 1 million boundaries. Luna nodded. tears already forming. But it's also the most anyone has ever cared about me. My voice cracked. My ex-boyfriend of 3 years didn't know my coffee order. My best friend doesn't know about the birthmark on my shoulder. My own mother didn't notice when I was depressed for 6 months. But you know everything. You see everything. You remember everything, Sophia. And I don't know if that's love or obsession or mental illness or what, but I know that when I'm with you, I feel more real than I've ever felt. Like I'm not just existing, I'm being witnessed. And maybe that's not healthy. Maybe this whole thing is a disaster waiting to happen. But, Luna whispered, hope dawning in her eyes. But I want to try anyway. I reached across the table, taking her hands. I want to try this, us, for real. No more watching from shadows. No more secrets. Just two people who found each other in the weirdest, most messed up way possible, trying to make something real out of it. Luna was fully crying now. You mean it? I mean it. But Luna, I squeezed her hands. You have to promise me. No more stalking. No more watching me without my knowledge. If you want to know something about me, you ask. If you want to protect me, you tell me why. We do this like normal people, or we don't do it at all. I promise. She stood, pulling me up with her, and hugged me so tightly I could barely breathe. I promise, Sophia. I'll be normal. I'll be so normal. I'll be the most boring regular girlfriend you've ever had. I laughed through my own tears. I don't believe that for a second. Okay, maybe not normal, Luna admitted, pulling back to look at me, but honest, present, real. I'll be all those things, I swear. We kissed then, in the middle of the coffee shop where we'd first met, where Luna had watched me cry 7 months ago, where she'd fallen in love with a stranger who'd saved her life 8 years before, and it felt like coming home. You're doing it again, I said without looking up from my book. Doing what? Luna asked innocently from across the room. Watching me. I'm not watching. I'm admiring. There's a difference. I looked up to find her smiling at me, that same intense look in her eyes that she'd had from the beginning. But now I knew what it meant. It meant, I see you. I know you. I love you. Come here, I said, setting down my book. She crossed the room and curled up next to me on the couch. We'd been living together for 8 months now, really together, not just her in my space, but our space. She still noticed everything, still remembered every detail, still knew what I needed before I did. But now she asked before acting. Now she talked instead of just observed. I have something to tell you, Luna said, playing with my fingers. Should I be worried? No, maybe. I don't know. She took a breath. I've been seeing a therapist. I sat up. Really? Yeah. For the past 3 months. I didn't tell you because I wanted to make sure I was really committed before I said anything. She looked at me. We're working on the obsessive tendencies, the need to control everything around you to keep you safe. The way I process relationships through observation instead of participation. Luna? I'm not trying to change who I am, she continued. I'll always notice details. I'll always remember things. That's just how my brain works. But I'm trying to be healthier about it. To give you space. To trust that you can take care of yourself and that I don't have to protect you from everything. I cupped her face. I'm so proud of you. Don't be proud yet. It's really hard, she laughed. Last week you were 10 minutes late coming home and I almost called the police. My therapist talked me down. Baby steps, I said. Baby steps, she agreed. We sat in comfortable silence for a moment. Then Luna said, can I tell you something else? Always. I still think about that day 8 years ago. The accident. And I still can't believe that the girl who saved me ended up being the love of my life. She looked at me with those intense dark eyes. Do you ever think about it? About how if you hadn't been on that road that day, I'd be dead. And we never would have met? Sometimes, I admitted. But I also think about how if your parents hadn't died, if you hadn't spent 8 years looking for me, if you hadn't been at that coffee shop that day, we never would have met either. Our whole relationship is built on tragedy and coincidence and obsession. Does that bother you? It should, I said. According to every therapist and self-help book and concerned friend, I should run screaming. But Luna, you're the healthiest relationship I've ever had. Because you actually see me, all of me, the sad parts, the boring parts, the beautiful parts, and you chose to love all of it. I'll always choose you, Luna said softly, for as long as you'll let me, even when I'm old and boring and don't do anything worth watching, especially then. She kissed me. Though you could never be boring. Trust me, I've been watching you for years. I laughed. Too soon, Luna. Too soon? Sorry, she grinned. Old habits. We settled back into the couch, her arms around me, both of us comfortable in the strange, imperfect love we'd built from obsession and gratitude and genuine affection. My phone buzzed. A text from Maya. Dinner this weekend? Want to meet Luna's therapist and make sure she's real lol. I showed Luna, who laughed. Your friends still don't trust me. Can you blame them? I'm dating my stalker. Ex-stalker, Luna corrected. Current girlfriend. Future wife, if you'll have me. I froze. What? Luna pulled a small box from her pocket. I was going to wait for a more romantic moment, but we've never been good at doing things the conventional way, so why start now? She opened the box to reveal a simple silver band with a small blue stone. Sophia Chen, I watched you for 7 months before I had the courage to talk to you. I've loved you for 8 years, even when I didn't know your name. And I want to spend the rest of my life proving that sometimes the craziest love stories are the truest ones. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. Will you marry me? I should have said no. I should have said it was too fast, too soon, too much. I should have been the rational one. Instead, I said, yes. Because sometimes love doesn't follow the rules. Sometimes it starts with a car accident and a stranger's kindness. Sometimes it grows in the shadows, watching and waiting. Sometimes it's a little bit obsessive, a little bit unhealthy, a little bit insane. But it's real. And that's all that matters. The end.